Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this edition of The Rundown. I am your host, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by my lonesome.
No, and I am not behind the Sierras. Well, I guess I'm in front of the Sierras, just well in front of the Sierras. I come to you from the East Coast, right behind the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico, down in that way also. My name is Mike Piworski. I will be your co-host for the day.
Excellent, excellent. So, for this Thirsty Thursday, do we have any particular plans for this evening as the weekend gets into full gear?
Thirsty Thursday. Let's see. Any particular plans? No, just wherever the day takes me. Let's say that. That's right.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that's what Thirsty Thursday is for. It's like that. We still have to work tomorrow, but it's almost the weekend.
It's been a it's been a week here for sure. It's definitely been a week. Definitely been
Oh
a
yeah.
week. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We've had,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
I was gonna say yeah. Yesterday was a bit of a trial. There was a bunch of stuff going on. We're having some landscaping going on over here, and we had power issues.
Right.
It was all. I want to say it was all bad, but it wasn't all bad. There were many challenges that we had to get through, but we made it through it, and so now we're at Thirsty Thursday, feeling kind of thirsty.
Yeah, I did a lot of work. Worked a lot of long hours, and still working at it. And once again, wherever the day takes me, my job from here is just to go out and put out fires, basically. So that's what I'll do.
Excellent, sir. Excellent, sir. Now tomorrow, guess what, y'all? Tomorrow is Freedback Friday. Freedback Friday, and you guys know what that means. Uh-oh. Mikey's got some goodies for us.
I
What you
don't know
got
how
there,
well you can
bruh?
see it because it's wrapped in this nice piece of plastic here. So it's a 9-inch rail. It's a 9-inch rail. I know I originally said 7-inch. Well, it's really 9. It's not. I'm 7, and I'm telling you it's 9, but it's really a 9-inch rail. There's the mounting hardware to go on your America's rifle. So we've got this for you.
All right, so Mikey, just so they know, so the 7 inches of it is free. We're going to charge you for the other 2 inches, right? No.
Whoa, hey, family show. Remember family show.
See, you went there. I was not going to go there.
I was just trying to be specific that it's really 7, and we're not lying and saying it's 9. So
Got it. Understand. All right, well, enough with the banter. I think folks have tuned in by now. By the way, just so you guys know, one of the reasons why we do the banter in the very beginning is because not everyone tunes in like right at, well, 3 p.m. or noon. Not everyone tunes in right at the beginning. So we want to give folks an opportunity to kind of tune in, realize that we're up and we're live. And so we do a little bit of banter before we get into the news. So for those of you who are like, stop wasting my time. Yeah, we're trying to make sure everybody gets in so that they can experience this live. Right, Mikey?
uh, I could do the banter for the half hour, so we could just ditch the stories. I mean, I thought that's why we did the banter.
I don't know exactly how entertaining that would be. I mean, it might be entertaining, might not, but yeah, no.
Listen, I know a bunch of 12-year-olds would probably be entertained because we got nothing but bathroom humor here.
Well,
We'll just
dude, we banter for at least half an hour before we even start the program, and
very,
probably about half an hour after. So,
very true, very true, very
yeah,
true.
actually, the 20 to 30 minutes that we actually talk about news is in the minority of our conversations.
And you know what? That's really specific. We've set that out. We select the stories, but we don't discuss them ahead of time
Right.
because we want you folks to see the actual opinions and reactions. We're not trying to find things that we agree on all the time.
No, exactly. No, we're not. We're not looking to seek agreement. In fact, I'm just looking to be entertained.
There you go. There you go. Are you entertained?
Are you not entertained?
There we go.
Okay, tell you what. Let's move on into today's stories. Well, being here in California, obviously, we talk a lot. I tend to talk a lot about some of the craziness that goes on here in California because, as Mikey lives in the home of Florida man, I live here in the land of fruits and nuts. So we both tend to have a lot of stories coming from our home state. This today is actually no different. French Laundry Part Deux. Now, I know you're wondering, what does that mean? Well, our governor, Governor Gavin Newsom, it had put in place some mask mandates for social distancing and for eating in restaurants and yada, yada, yada. And then he decided that he was going to break those by going to this restaurant, this very expensive restaurant called the French Laundry. Not only did he not social distance, he was not wearing a mask, and the place where they were actually eating was basically indoors with like kind of like one wall removed, and that's how they basically said it was outdoors. So basically, it was well, the rules apply to you, but not to me, sort of a deal. And that's really one of the items that started to push the recall election, really got people behind the recall because of that hypocrisy. Well, he's still engaging in that hypocrisy, or at least he was, as his kids were attending a day camp, a camp that actually did not require masks. This was at the same time that he was requiring all schools, public schools, he was requiring for students and teachers to both be masked. He was sending his kids to a school or to a camp where they did not have to be masked.
Yeah, listen, he sent these children there, and the school sent out a memorandums to all of the parents saying, listen, we don't enforce mask mandates here, and so his kids were there without having to wear the masks. Once again, like you said, good for the goose, not for the gander there. But now, in his defense, he says he never got the email, Craig. Otherwise, he would have taken them out longer before.
Right. Well, I'm guessing that. Then one can then make a comment about his parenting skills. I don't know. One would think his staff would make sure and be on top of stuff like that in order to make sure that he doesn't look like an idiot. But then again, as often as he looks like an idiot, I would imagine that is a Herculean task for his staff.
Yeah. Listen, and the whole I didn't read the email excuse is just that. It's an excuse because he got caught.
Yeah,
he got caught again in the French Laundry party.
Well, so. Yeah, well, exactly. Well, like he said at the French Laundry, he said about the French Laundry. Well, it was an early dinner.
Yeah.
And people just arrived, and we didn't have no idea how many people were going to be there. It's like, dude, stop making excuses. You messed up. Just own it.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that most voters, I don't care, Republican or Democrat, I really believe that most people are like, if you own your mess, even as a politician, they're willing to let it go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and seen that numerous times, numerous examples across the last couple of 2 generations, 3 generations or so. You own up to it,
right,
and that's it. I think
but as you make excuses,
the last time we saw the denial was I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
With that woman.
Depends on what your definition of is.
Right. Well, in this particular case, I think that he's going to be in a little. Honestly, I think this recall election is going to be interesting because now it's over 50% of the people are saying the 50% of the people are saying they'd keep him in. 47% are saying they would boot him. And the numbers are not heading the right way at all. Right. I really do believe there's a good chance that he could possibly get recalled.
When is the recall election?
It is September 14th.
Oh, yeah.
They pushed it up. And the thing about it is that the only people who really have an incentive to show up and vote are the people who don't like him.
Right.
And the other thing is that it's not a plurality. So the first question is yes or no to recall the governor. If you vote yes, then you decide, okay, well, who's going to replace him?
Right.
And right now, Larry Elder is leading the pack by far. And no one has to get a majority of the votes. It's whoever gets a plurality, whoever gets the most votes. So Larry Elder could very well wind up being our next governor.
Yeah. Listen, it's going to happen. If this was on the regular election date in November, he might stand a chance. But it's still an off year. It's not a midterm. It's not a presidential election year. So even if it went to the regular election date in November, he probably would still lose because, like you said, there's nothing else being voted on.
Right.
And those people, when there's only one topic, the only people that show up are those passionate against. So.
Right. It would be nice to see. It would be really nice to see him get recalled.
Yeah. He gone.
He gone. All right. Moving right along. We've talked about the Olympics and kind of the the clothing or the mandated clothing that they've had for some of the female sports, and kind of the, for lack of a better term, the hypocrisy in that, they let the men wear pretty much whatever the heck they want, but with the women they kind of go out of their way to kind of sexualize their outfits. Well, the German national team, gymnastics team, decided that they were going to fight back against sexualization by going with a unitard for their uniform. So here's an example of what the female gymnasts are wearing in Germany. And I just, once again, I found it kind of interesting because, first of all, Mikey, these are, most of these gymnasts we're talking about are, teenagers at best. At oldest, right? So
yeah, you got a lot of under 18 individuals on the gym team. Yeah.
Right. So I once again, first of all, I don't know that we should be sexualizing gymnasts at all, or any of them.
Definitely not under 18.
Case. Athletes in general.
Agree on that. Yeah.
What'd you say?
Definitely not under 18, and I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, but even still, it's like I was reading some of the rules that they have for some of the sports, in particular, like the beach volleyball and the beach handball, and I'm like, you can tell clearly. It is meant. Their rules are meant to show the goods, shall we say?
Yeah, we talked. Was it last week before, about the beach handball team, which is not an Olympic sport. It's still a regional European sport, not non-American sport, basically. And it was clearly a double standard. The men were allowed to wear what they wanted, and the women tried to compromise. They tried to go with the athletic shorts, the bicycle shorts, spandex shorts kind of thing, so they could wear that, and they were still told no, and that was clearly a double standard there. Now, in the beach volleyball in the Olympics, the women wear the similar kind of thing. They wear the bikinis basically, and the guys get to wear tank tops and basketball shorts. But that's the beach, So they're wearing guys wearing beach. The women, if they want to wear the bigger outfits, let them have it. Let them have it. It's about the competition. It shouldn't be about the outfit, as long as it's all standardized and and uniform. That's the big deal. Now the gymnastics, though, Craig, I think can you bring that picture back up? That gymnastics picture.
There it is.
Okay, here's my professional sports opinion on this. In the beach volleyball and the beach handball, we are focused on the net and the ball. That's what we're looking at for scoring for the rules type of the game, who wins. In gymnastics, we are looking at the body. We are looking at the body of this individual, what it does, how perfect it is it symmetrical, are the knees touching, and all of that. And I think one way that you can do that a little bit easier is when they're wearing those leotards, it sets the legs off in a different shade or a different color. What I would say is, I absolutely agree, those leotards are horrible to wear, those one-piece ones. You always see them struggling with that. Is why don't we let them wear leggings or something, or at least make the legs different colors in the leotards? That way you still have the eye-catching symmetry during the gymnastics. So you could wear a one-piece, but make it look two-colored, so the legs look a different color. Does that make sense?
Well, no, it totally makes sense. What I would say is that would probably be part of that should be part of the strategy in order to stand out. Now, if wearing it where it's a single color like that, if it puts you at a disadvantage and that's the choice you make, then that's the choice you make.
Correct.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what you would probably letting them wear the one piece. I'm all for that. I'm just saying, from a competition standpoint and a judging standpoint, we are looking at the body. You really are. So why not, like you said, let's get a designer in there and make them look like the legs are a different color.
Right.
That way it stands out because you see the movement and the flashes going on.
Well, exactly. All excellent points. All excellent points. But anyway, I just
the Olympics are sexist. We get that, and we anybody that supports the likes of Larry Nasser for however he was involved, the guy serving 200 years for doing no-nos with underage girls. I don't know how the guy's not under the jail instead of in the jail. But the Olympics have always been that weird old committee of Europeans, and the ages there are a lot different than you and I are used to, Craig.
Right.
So,
Right. Well, and once again, I'm glad to see that some people fighting back against that, and it's
yes.
first of all, we need to be very careful and get away from the sexualization of children,
Oh
away
my
from the
God, yes.
sexualization of sports. And don't get me wrong, I think we all enjoy a good view and a good fight, but what it comes back down to is this is about sport, not about sex.
Correct. Listen, and if I'm watching gymnastics, it's to watch the sport, not some, you know, underage girl's blood or whatever the perverts are looking at. But it's just, let's let them wear these leotards. Can we agree on this now?
Yes.
Let's let them wear these the one piece leotards or unitards, whatever they're called.
There you go.
Bodysuit, something like that.
I am down for that. I am down
Yeah.
for that.
Agreed.
Okay, so moving right along. Okay, so this is an interesting one. So, public defenders in New York, as a part of the New York case that deals with concealed carry permits, public defenders in New York have actually filed a friend of the court brief in the Supreme Court case, once again dealing with New York's concealed carry law. And the interesting thing about it is they point out that the concealed carry law there in the state of New York, or the restrictions on the ability to conceal carry, are in fact racist, which is a case that, I think many people in the gun community, arguments that many in the gun community have made about gun control in general.
This case is going to be so stunning to gun laws across the country that liberal heads are going to explode. This is going to be a huge case once it's finally heard. It'll start in October when the first session starts of the new Supreme Court, or the current Supreme Court. But what's that last 3, 4, 5 months? So we'll see when they actually hear it and when they get it back. This might be still a year and a half, 2 years before we know something. But everybody, Craig, everybody that you would think that would oppose this is filing these amicus briefs. And here's the reason why: you get these people that are based on fact and analytical thinking and not emotion, and they're siding with this. Hence the district attorney's offices there out of the Bronx County, out of Brooklyn Borough. They are going for this. They're supporting this. We saw the ACLU, was it 2 weeks ago, file an amicus brief that said, yeah, listen, the Second Amendment and how it's being enforced in New York, because that's where they're giving their views and opinions from, is racist. So, this is because they're looking at this analytically. They're actually looking at the facts, statistics, and the history of the law, and they can identify that rather than, oh my God, all guns are bad. All guns are bad.
Well, interestingly enough, and this is what a lot of this is. First of all, it fits with the narrative that they have regarding outcomes, and the reality is most gun laws are enforced when you have. They're not going out looking for people who are committing the crime. It mostly is enforced when you have engagements or interactions with law enforcement.
Yes.
And every study out there will tell you if you are young black and brown men are more likely to have encounters with law enforcement than pretty much any other segment of society. And so therefore, these laws are mostly going to be enforced against those same exact people. And that's kind of the perspective that they're coming from. But also historically, one only need go back and look at the black codes that were put in place. One only need look at California's history. The original gun control laws were put in place to keep Native Americans and to keep Chinese and to keep Mexicans from being able to own or possess firearms, or to keep the Black Panthers from being able to open carry in California. I mean, most gun control, quite frankly, was put in place to keep those people from being able to own, possess, or carry firearms.
And Craig, who wrote those laws?
Those would be Democrats.
What?
Well, with the exception of the Mulford Act, which is actually written by a Republican in California, which a California Republican, there's a lot of them that might as well be Democrats everywhere else. And I say that as a California Republican, so.
Yeah. That's like, again, it's like New York conservatives, New York Republicans. Hey, God bless them, hang in there. But you say some things to them. It's been so long that the law has been the opposite way, like gun stuff, and they're like,
Yeah.
well, no, we can't, we just don't have guns here. Well, yeah, it's because you've
Well,
been brainwashed for 5 generations. That's why.
by the way, that's why this is 2A news and conservative views, not Republican views, because not all Republicans not all Republicans are created equal.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
But yeah, so this is, by the way, so this is actually very good. And it's, we've had a lot of conversations here in California with both public defenders and ACLU, and we've actually gotten some of these, in particular, left wing ideological groups that are about constitutional protections and civil rights. And we've had the conversation about the Second Amendment being a civil right and how it's being disproportionate. And so we've actually gotten them oftentimes to side with us on in opposing anti-gun legislation because, once again, they recognize, they do in fact recognize the racist roots of a lot of gun control.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Absolutely correct, as usual. These, I got to tell you, just thinking about this whole case, I can't wait for this to go to the Supreme Court. Craig, do you think this is going to be one of those small decisions that comes out of the Supreme Court, or one of those life-changing major decisions? How do you think they're going to view on this?
I don't see how, it can't be changing, because it's if they take it up, they're being asked to answer a question that we've been asking since Heller, which is, okay, we know we have a right to own or possess a firearm for self-defense in our home. Yep. Does that right end at our front door? And Heller didn't answer that question. And we need an answer to that question. And I think that there are enough people on the Supreme Court who want to see that question is answered. And I'm hoping that that's got to be the answer to this case. That's got to be something they come up with. And that is, by the way, life-changing.
Yeah, and listen, I'm there with you. I think it's the next logical step. Listen, from Heller and McDonald, it was to own the gun. Then it was to own the gun in the home.
Right.
Well, the next step is to own the gun outside the home. And listen, what did the founders write? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And you can't really live life and pursue happiness as a farmer or anything else when you stay inside your home. You have to be able to take your firearm outside your home, because they all worked outside the home. There was no Zoom calls back then to raise the cattle and raise the corn. So this is going to be, like you said, this is going to be a national changing when this decision comes out. So
exactly. All right, so talking about changing, we've all talked about the ability or the right that we have to be able to build your own firearms, right? It is an American tradition to be able to build your own firearms. Not everyone does it. In fact, most people don't. Most people would rather just buy their firearm already manufactured, already put together. But it's something that has existed since the founding of our country. And now there's this move to make it so that you are unable to do so. But basically what they're calling home-built firearms, they're calling them now ghost guns. I'm sure you guys have heard these terms before. Well, in Nevada, they actually had put in place a law passed along partisan lines that would ban the ability to own or possess an unfinished lower receiver. Something basically like this, all right? An unfinished lower receiver, which is basically used in order to be able to make a firearm at home. Well, a judge has actually ruled in the state of Nevada. They've actually put on hold a part of that law. And it's actually a very big thing, because it's going to impact the ability of those in the state of Nevada to be able to build their own firearms.
Yeah, this story we've been tracking for a couple of days here. Monday, there was another judge's ruling on this that said the law was good and the law could go into effect. And then yesterday, I think it was after we finished the program, another judge came out and ruled and said, no, not so much. This is a fundamental right. It's the ability for people to manufacture their own firearm. I'm going to put this on hold, put this part of the law on hold. Basically, the part of the law that said you were not allowed to own, possess, or create, they're putting that part of the law on into effect. So this is good. This will continue to move forward. The injunction is in place. So at this point, you'd have to get an injunction to lift an injunction, or get the judge to lift, or go to the state Supreme Court, whatever it is. It's all good news for gun owners and gun builders, because the fight is being taken up. It's not just lost with one judge's decision.
Which, by the way, let's just is a reminder to all of us that elections have consequences. Whoever gets to appoint judges, that has consequences. And when you see stupid stuff for example, coming out of California from California judges, that's because of who got to appoint those judges. You look at what happens, like right now, we're starting to see decent decisions coming out of the Ninth Circuit Court of Schlemiels. And all of a sudden, we're wondering, well, what the heck is going on? Well, that's because President Trump appointed a number of good justices or good judges to the bench in the Ninth Circuit. Once again, elections have consequences. So for those of you who decided that you couldn't vote for the orange man because he sent out mean tweets, once again, these things have consequences.
He hit me with a tweet right in the shoulder. It hurts. People.
Okay, so now we're going to go from like
generation.
elections having consequences, and they do, but to unelected bureaucrats. Now in Florida, they have the director of agriculture, the secretary of agriculture is the one who oversees the concealed carry permit process. Is that correct, Mike?
Nikki Fried, and to be clear, she is an elected official. She is.
Oh, she is an elected. Oh, I thought she was appointed.
No, she's an elected official. Florida's got, I mean, just like many other states, haven't broken up. Department of Agriculture, the insurance commissioner. There's a couple of others out there. That, the Secretary of State. They're all elected officials.
Okay.
The Department of Agriculture, and this is where I think the NRA should stay out of local nonsense politics, because they come around and they. I don't want to get this into my issues with the NRA, but with the NRA, if the NRA did what they were chartered to do, they'd be great. It's when they try to play God in politics that they go wrong. Just talk about Second Amendment rights and stick to it, okay? They came in and they put their nose in Florida's business and said, "Listen, your division of licensing, the people that issue firearms permits, you should really put them under a division in the state of Florida that's always going to be assured a Republican leader or a conservative leader." Well, this was 2002 when that happened. It was politics before that. And the Department of Agriculture has always been a Republican stronghold. So they moved the Division of Licensing. These are the people that issue licenses for security, for private investigators, for concealed weapons holders. And they moved not driver's licenses, but professional licenses. And they moved those under the Department of Agriculture, because clearly that makes sense. The only reason they did it was to hide it under a Republican-led portion of our state government. Well, guess what happened in 2020? Nikki Fried got elected, and she is 2018, Nikki Fried got elected, and she is a strong leftist Democrat. So any chance she gets to mess with concealed weapons holders, she does.
Right. And as we know, like during COVID, she just basically shut down the entire department that was issuing concealed carry permits. Shut it down.
She did. And listen, again, we got Captain Florida. We got Governor DeSantis here. When she did the, we have to close down and we can only do them online. So nobody can renew or get a new concealed weapons permit. So Governor DeSantis said, okay, that's fine. Go to your county tax collectors. They'll give it to you. What? Well, that's never been the law before. Said, oh, by the way, if you have one issued to you, yeah, it's good for another 6 months,
right
after the date of expiration. What? So he's been the protector, but now she's decided that, what has she got? These 22 people that have been, again, these are people that she believes were at the January 6th protests up in D.C. These are not even everybody that was charged by some Fed. Oh, and by the way, charged does not mean convicted. I don't know if she realizes that. So they still have their constitutional rights available to them. She has suspended 22 concealed weapons permits in the state of Florida.
Yeah, and this is what's crazy about this. Like you said, number one is we don't even know if they were charged. We don't know what she used as a foundation
right.
For the suspension. But number two, even if they're charged, that doesn't mean that they've been convicted. And it's just the utter lack of due process and the taking away of fundamental rights is insane. I got to imagine there's going to be some sort of legal action to follow in order to address this, in order to go after her for this. But clearly she's demonstrating a disdain for those who believe in the fundamental right to keep and bear arms. And of all places, in the gunshine state.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be a busy week for Captain Florida, Governor DeSantis down here. He's had a couple of other government agencies, local government agencies that have decided that we're going to institute mask mandates again. We're going to ban this. We're going to two or three different government agencies have said we're making it a requirement that all of our employees are vaccinated by such and such a date or they'll be fired. And the governor's already made it clear in the state. We passed a law that said you can't ask the vaccination status of anyone. So there's. Yeah, and I get we've seen cases around the country with private employers. Well, private employers are different. Private employers have the ability to, have whoever they want to working for them as long as they're not violating, ADA or EEO or things like that. Well, the government can't, city or local governments can't mandate those masks wearing or vaccinations. And the governor, I'm sure, will get into it. Military's different, folks. I know you're talking about military. You listen to they get to you sign away everything. They control you. If they decide you're going to be a guinea pig, you're going to be a guinea pig. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, that's kind of. And by the way, that whole kind of conversation also leads us to our parting shot, because we all know that in the end, a lot of this is not about medicine; it's about politics, and we've seen them time and time again say, "Follow the science," and then turn around and completely and utterly ignore the science. I mean, we know that right now. If you, once again, everything that they've told us says, oh, well, if you're vaccinated, you have almost no chance of getting sick from COVID. So then why are you making vaccinated people wear masks? We already know everything they said, and the science says children aren't getting seriously ill or are barely contracting COVID. Everything they've told us. And yet they want to require kids and teachers to wear. They want to still require them to wear masks in school. Oh, by the way, they shut down all the schools for the last year and a half, which once again leads us to our parting shot. Asked my doctor today how long he thinks this COVID thing will last. He responded with, "How should I know? I'm a doctor, not a politician."
Is that right? I mean, come on, Craig. We talk about it all the time. We say it's not science; it's political science. Yeah, and that's right. That's what we've got going on here.
Right. And once again, whether masks or not masks, vaccines or no vaccines, we know that it's not the scientists that are making the decisions. It's the politicians. And it makes it very difficult for people to be able to get along and figure out it makes it difficult to plan for whatever it is that you're going to do when you have to rely on politicians and the political whims of folks in order to make those plans and make those decisions.
Yep, absolutely right.
I will still continue to say, and I think you and I are both in agreement, you know what? Inform yourself, get the data, get the information. Don't rely on the politicians to make your medical decisions for you. Inform yourself and make the decisions for yourself.
That's it. Do it right. Do your research. Do your due diligence. Whether it's vaccinations or a story about gymnasts fighting sexualization wearing leotards, do your own research. Make your own decision. Don't take our word for it.
Exactamundo. Well, folks, hey, that's going to wrap it up for today's edition of The Rundown. We very much appreciate you liking, sharing, and tuning in. Please remember to tune in tomorrow for Feedback Friday. Now, once again, a reminder, Feedback Friday is not going to be on all the other outlets. So if you're watching us on CRA TV, or if you're watching us at Arms Room Radio or at 2A News, tomorrow, Feedback Friday, you got to tune into The Rundown. You got to go to The Rundown. So you can go to the rundown.us, and that'll take you to our YouTube channel, or you can just look up The Rundown on Facebook, and that'll take you to our Facebook page. Either way, that's where you got to be. That's where you got to comment, because that's the only place you're going to find Feedback Friday. Like, share, subscribe.
Feedback Friday. Do it. Feedback Friday on the rundown. Feedback Friday. Like, share, subscribe.
You folks take care.